Good morning, everyone. My name is Julie. I'm the owner and founder of Lady Faulti. You're either watching this video on my YouTube channel or my Facebook group, which are both called Lady Faulti's Light Healing. Today, we're going to finish off talking about the zodiac signs. So we're going to talk about Sagittarius today. As the year has gone through, we have talked about each of the different signs. And so we're going to end with Sagittarius today. But before we get started on that, we're going to kind of go through our little stuff here. My matches fell down. So we're going to light our December candle. Morning. So we're going to light our December candle and then smudge and pull our card for the week. And then we will get talking about Sagittarius. Sagittarius is my sun sign. So I know this one fairly well, but there's a lot of different aspects of the Sagittarius sign that don't really resonate with me, and that's because of where other placements are in my chart. And we're going to talk about that on Thursday. So on Thursday, I'm just going to basically walk you through my chart, just as an example of how the different placements in your chart can play different aspects for you. So, come on, smudge, there we go. This is a really old smudge bundle, and it never wants to get going. There we go. So a little bit for me, a little bit for you guys. And if you guys have watched my videos before, you are going to have heard this a million times already, but I recommend that you smudge daily. If you can't smudge daily, I recommend that you smudge at least twice a week. Besides being really good for clearing up negative energy, it's also antibacterial. And I recommend that at least once a month you do a really good smudge, like all over the house. And I love the smell of all of it. So a lot of people don't. You can also use cedar, which I'm going to just light for a second. Cedar for just a second. Let that go. And then, as always, my Paleo Santo. So we'll light a little bit of that. I love the smell of it. So again, even if it wasn't good for clearing, I would most likely burn this anyway, just because I love the smell of it. You can now buy oil-infused ones on the. They smell really well, smell really good, but the downfall is they will burn quite a bit faster. But they're $3. The oil-infused ones I think might be a little bit more, but they're not like super crazy expensive or anything. All right, so grab the cards here. I'm getting too many decks. Deck I need is down at the bottom. All right. So last week we pulled rose quartz. We'll go ahead and I got a mess. Go ahead and put that back. I'm trying to open the wrong side of the box. And so we're gonna, this is up on the website as well. Sage Goddess Gemstone Oracle. I believe it's $24 before discount if it's in stock. If it's not in stock and you want it, you can go to the item and click join wish list, and then they'll email you when it's back in stock. All right, so I'm gonna just pull a card. It's not for anybody particular, it's for the group as a whole. Just a way to learn and work with the stones. see what we have here. All right, we have Sapphire. Let me read that to you real quick and then we'll get started. All right, so Sapphire is for awareness, eloquence, and wisdom. It is for your throat and your third eye chakra. Sapphire is a stone of fidelity and loyalty. It calms and heals the mind, helps you channel information, and aids in discerning the most effective communication method. You have pulled this card because you need to eloquently express your innermost truth with insight from the highest planes. Meditate with Sapphire for peace, intellectual stimulation, and ancient wisdom. So, Sapphire it is, which is a good card for me because I have been struggling for years with communication issues with my supervisor. And we have our good periods and then our bad. And then right now we're in one of the bad periods of communication. Basically everything she says just pisses me off. Anyhow, that's a whole story. So I took a picture, I'll get it up on the website, and Sapphire. And I did have a little piece around here somewhere, but I'm not sure where it is. My grandkids were here a couple weeks ago, and they were playing and knocked a book down off the shelf, which landed on my computer, which I have all these little plates of all these little crystals everywhere, and everything kind of went flying. So I'm not quite sure if everything got put back where it's supposed to be or not, but that's all right. I've been wanting to work on the project of sorting and figuring out which crystals I have, because I'm getting to the point where I'm just buying a lot of duplicates of things, and I don't necessarily know if I need to do that. So, but anyhow, on to Sagittarius. So Sagittarius is my sun sign, my birth sign. When you guys read your horoscopes, whether it's in the paper or whatever, if you got an app or whatever, your sun sign is the zodiac sign that you're looking up. And sorry. And so as I have gone through all the different zodiacs through the year, I have said, you know, if what I'm saying to you doesn't totally resonate, it's most likely due to other placements in your chart. So if you haven't got your natal chart, I highly recommend you go get it done. It's just at www.astro.com. It's a free site. I don't get anything for sending you there. I just think it's an easy site to use. It's instant. You put in your information and your chart comes right up. I recommend saving it, printing it, take a photo of it, whatever, because I work with mine all the time. Even last night I went back and was looking at it because I wanted to know something about some house placements. So it's been over a year and I still am going back and using it and learning things. So it's not a quick learn. You're not going to get your chart and understand it all tomorrow. It's a long process, and you know, I've told everybody on my videos, if you want help learning it, let me know. I'll help you break it down into some easier things. Like the first things you should learn are your sun, moon, and your rising. And once you've got an understanding of that, then I recommend you go on to your Venus, Mercury, and your Mars. And then once you've got that, you know, so on and so forth. So if you've got your chart and you're not really sure what to do with it, that's what I recommend starting with, is your rising, your sun, and your moon, learning about them. So Sagittarius is my sun sign, my birth sign, my zodiac sign that I would read if I was reading my horoscope in the newspaper. But not all of it resonates with me, and that is, again, because of other placements in my chart, which we're going to talk about on Thursday. But let's just jump right in and get going here because I have a lot written down. So Sagittarius are, and I'm not tooting my own horn. This is, I didn't write these things. I just wrote them down. They're naturally intelligent. They're very good communicators, which I am not. And so again, that's because my Mercury is in a different sign, which Mercury rules communication. So again, we'll get to that. But naturally intelligent, naturally good communicators. They're usually well liked, and they're typically happy people. Now, typically happy people, there's a little bit of a weirdness to that one. So I get mad, I get sad, I get angry, but I'm not the person that is going to, if you do something to me today, I'm not typically the one that's going to be mad about it tomorrow or the next day. I'll be mad about it, I'll vent about it, I'll bitch and moan, whatever you want to call it, and then I'm usually okay again. 20 minutes later, morning, Tara. 20 minutes later, I'm usually humming and back to myself. So, we don't typically stay mad or upset for a very long time. Usually they're very social people, and they're very magnet. I can't even talk. They attract people socially and romantically. Again, that's not really me. I'm not a big social person. I don't like to branch out socially. I don't like to have a ton of people around me. I'm very comfortable with just a very few close friends. And again, that's because other placements in my chart kind of override that. But typically, Sagittarius are going to be very social people, and they're going to attract a lot of people socially and romantically. They're very much adventurers and travelers. That is true for me. I love to travel, and I don't like to travel typically to the same place more than once. I want to go different places every time we go somewhere. When we go camping or on the motorcycle, I don't typically like to go to the same places every time. I want to go somewhere new. I want to see something different every time we go somewhere. And I would love to travel more if that was possible for me, but it's not possible for me right now. But I would love to go to Ireland, and I'd love to go to New Zealand. I'd love to go to Australia. There's a lot of places that I'd really love to go visit, but it's just not in the budget at the moment. But we do a lot of motorcycle traveling, and I do a lot of we go places in the camper. And like I said, I typically like to go different places all the time. I don't want to go back to the same place. There's some people who love to take the same vacation every year. They want to go back to the same place. It's someplace that they love, and they're very happy with that. And I'm not one of those people. I want to go somewhere different every single time. And I think that's the Sagittarius part of me. They're very passionate for knowledge. That is me. I love to learn new things. I can be a tad bit lazy. I want the answers quickly. I want the quick answers easily. But I do want all the answers. But I'm not typically going to be the one that's going to sit down and study for hours on end. I like, oh, I want to know about that. And I Google it and I read it, or I find an article about it and I read it, and then I'm on to the next thing. So can be a little flaky, squirrely in there sometimes. But I do love to learn. And, right now, this is my thing. I want to learn all about all of the things. I want to learn what all the different herbs mean. I want to learn about what all the different oils mean. And it's not possible to learn all of it like right away. But that's the way my brain is. I want to know all the information all the time. They tend to be very lucky people. I'm not sure if that's necessarily true for myself, but I consider myself pretty lucky. I have good kids. I have a good husband. I have a good job. I haven't won the mega bucks yet, but They say Sagittarius is the luckiest sign of all the signs. I'm not sure as myself as a Sagittarius if I necessarily believe that part, but that's what they say. Says we tend to lead very sparkly and exciting lives. Well, I'm not sure how exciting my life is, but it's not boring either. But it's not, I don't know if I'd say my life is overly exciting. When I was younger, I led a little bit more of a reckless, dangerous life. I'm not really sure how I survived into my crone stage, but it was always an adventure when I was younger. We'll just put it that way. Sagittarius people usually make really good public figures, broadcasters, speakers, that sort of thing. Again, that is not something that resonates with me at all, but I really do believe that's because my Mercury is in the Scorpio zodiac, and Mercury is what rules your communication. Scorpions tend to stay back here, and they don't want to be up front, and if you come at them, they're going to sting you. So that's more my communication style than being very public speaking kind of a person. But typically they do make really good public figures, speakers of some sort. Can be all different kinds of things. I mean, when you think about it, I'm here speaking to you, and I guess in a way that could make me a public figure, and it could make me a speaker, if you wanted to label it that way. I don't really feel it that way, but you could certainly, some people could say, oh yeah, you do speak, you speak every day, so, or twice a week. Let's see. The women are typically rather on the masculine side. Personally speaking, that is true for myself. I tend to be a little bit more masculine than I do feminine. Yes, I like my hair done. Yes, I like my makeup done. They're not done right now, but I usually like my nails done. I like all my jewelry and things like that as far as fashion-wise goes. But around the house, if something needs to be fixed, I'll just fix it. My husband will come along. He's like, what are you doing? He's like, just ask me to do that. And I'm like, I saw it and I did it. It's like it needed to be done, so I did it. So sometimes that masculine can come that way. But it served me well as many years as a single mom of my own home. So, I'm not going to complain about that. But I do tend to sometimes be a little bit more masculine than feminine, especially with my approach on things and my communication skills and things. I would definitely say are more on the masculine side than the feminine side. We are not really good at finishing projects. I will tell you that too. That is true. I love to start a project. I get very excited about a project, and then I kind of get bored and want to move on to something else. Or I'll be like, I'll do it later, which is the situation with my fingernails right now. Not that it's really relevant, but my salon, the girl that I go to for the salon got done. And so I'm like, well, that's okay. I'm going to take this opportunity to do my own nails. And I went out and I bought all the stuff. I was really excited about it. I bought polish. I bought the dryer. And now I have everything. And I'm like, I'll do it later. So that would be the Sagittarius part of me. I'm going to procrastinate. And I was really excited about it. And now it's just like, whatever. Sagittarius people are hesitant to commit. Again, I don't think that's necessarily true for me because of where my Venus is in my placement. So again, we're going to talk about that a little bit more on Thursday. But Sagittarius, as a rule of thumb, do not like to commit, and they are typically unfaithful. Sorry. That's the truth. That, again, does not resonate with me at all. But again, it's because my Venus is in a different sign. So if I'm saying these things about a sign, Sagittarius, or any of the other videos that I've done, and you're like, well, that is definitely not me. Again, you really need your chart to see where your other placements are that would rule over those things for you and change that up for you. Let's see here. What else do I have? Sagittarius people, I said that they are very passionate for knowledge. They're very drawn to the occult, witchcraft, and other forms of religion. That is obviously fits for me, as I am sitting here talking to you about metaphysical things. So I'm naturally drawn to those things. And again, it goes back to that passion for knowledge. I want to know all the things about all the things. I want to know what all the different colors of the candles mean. I want to know all of the different gemstones. I want to know all the different herbs. I want to know what each stone does, you know, and sometimes my brain is a little over worked, but it doesn't shut off. So let's see here. A couple things. We'll just go through a list of their strengths and their challenges, and then I have a few more things, and then we'll wrap this up. So again, just to go back over their strengths, they are very independent people. That was very true for me. I was very, I didn't necessarily like being alone, but I was very independent. If something needed to be done, I just did it. I didn't need anybody else to do things, except for when it came to like fixing cars, because I don't know how to fix cars. There are some limits. I do not know how to fix a car. I did need some help with that. We're very optimistic people. I don't consider myself necessarily an optimist. I consider myself a realist, and so there's a little bit of a difference there. My mind, and again, it depends on where my signs are, but my mind is, when we've talked about doing something, my mind has already in like 10 seconds figured out about 30 different ways that could go wrong and a solution for it, and what we should do instead. Sorry, it's the way my brain works. I can't shut it off. But like if somebody brings something up at work about, oh, we should do this, in a matter of seconds, my brain has, well, this isn't going to work because of this. This isn't going to work because this might happen. This could happen. This is probably going to happen. Maybe this is what we should do instead. It's crazy. Sometimes it's amazing and great, and sometimes it's just a pain in the ass. I can't read my own writing here. All right, well, I don't know what I wrote. Optimist, friendly, confident. They can come across as very confident people. People tell me that I do come across as very confident, but I am not. Not confident at all. And stylish. It's kind of a joke for Sagittarius, but Sagittarius people are very stylish people. Now, that means different things to different people, obviously, but Sagittarius people are, you're not going to see them out in Walmart in their pajamas. That's typically not going to be what a Sagittarius is going to be. They may be dressed very well, or they may be, you know, more of a relaxed dresser, but their outfits are always going to kind of go together. It's a joke at work for me. I have like 500 different pairs of shoes in different colors, and they always match my outfits and things of that sort. So it's kind of a joke at work about, they can tell what I'm wearing by what color shoes I have on when I come through the door. So, but that's very true for Sagittarius. Whatever their style is, their outfit is going to be very well put together and very coordinated and very matching. Like I cannot stand to put certain colors together. I cannot stand to put certain patterns together. I cannot stand to put certain textures together. It's really kind of weird. I don't really understand it, but I guess that's just part of naturally who I am. And it is true. Sagittarius people will be very well put together people. If you see a Sagittarius in the grocery store in their sweatpants or their pajama pants, probably something is going on that somebody should ask them if they're okay. Let's see here. Their challenges, they can be very restless and reckless. And yes, I get fidgety sometimes. Not so much as I'm older. I can feel that I can grab a book and sit and read it and not be quite so restless as I was when I was younger. But when I was younger, I needed to be on the move all the time. I needed to be going somewhere, doing something. I had to have a project. I had to have something going. I'm still like that. I still need, I'm always working on some sort of project, but they just look a little different now that I'm older. My projects when I was younger was more like, where's the next party? How much beer can I get for $20 kind of projects? Not so much anymore. Like I said, I really don't know how I survived my 20s. I should have died pretty much on a regular basis in my 20s. I laugh about it, but in all seriousness, I was very, very reckless in my 20s. It was not good. There was a lot of drinking and yeah, it was not good. We can be inflexible. That I will tell you is true. I have a very stubborn side of me, and if I think I am right, sometimes I don't like to let that go. I'm very much, which is really weird because of the Sagittarius is very much the free, fun-loving, adventure wanderer, and I'm very much about these are the rules and you're breaking the rules. But I have Capricorn in my moon sign. So I think that's where that comes from. But yes, back to my boss. She comes out and she all over the place crazy. And it's like, no, this is how we've done it for the last 4 years. No, we haven't. Yes, we have. Well, we need to change that. And it's like, I get very frustrated. But I'm very much about the rules, which is very, very strange for a Sagittarius because the Sagittarius is totally not about the rules. They are, like I said, they're the wanderers, they're the gypsies, the travelers, free, loving kind of people. They are not about rules at all, and I am. So I really have to think that that is my Capricorn and my moon sign. But we can be a bit flaky, a bit squirrely. You've all seen me get totally distracted and off on something else when I'm supposed to be talking to you about one thing. That is very common in my life. I tend to forget where I'm going. I'll get into a room and forget what I'm doing. And it's only worse as I go into menopause. So stay tuned for that challenge. But yes, they can see a little flaky, flighty, squirrely, whatever you want to call it. Not squirrely like mischievous, but like squirrels are just kind of all over the place. We can tend to be a tad bit unemotional. And I will tell you that is true. Where the water signs are very emotional, Sagittarius are very unemotional. Not to say that we don't feel emotion, we just don't show it typically like other signs do, and we don't get overly emotional about something. I have an anger issue, and again, that goes back to where my Chiron is placed in my chart. So it is not really part of the Sagittarius part of me. It's related to another placement in my chart for where my anger comes from. I'm working on that. It's not an easy one. But we don't typically, like if something happens for me, I'm not the one that's going to be like, oh my goodness, oh yay, oh, I'm like, oh, cool, thanks. And it's not because I'm unappreciative. I just don't show those emotions like a lot of other people do. If I'm excited about something, by looking at me, you probably would not know that I was excited about something. We just don't wear our emotions out there on our sleeves, and as other signs do. A couple other things real quick, finish up here. Sagittarius is a fire sign. So again, we like to just burn things all the time. It is the mutable fire sign. So out of all the fire signs, it is the most go with the flow one, which really doesn't make sense. Go with the flow is more of a watery sign. But as far as fire signs go, Sagittarius is the more go with the flow sign than the other signs, the other fire signs. So let's see, some of the other things I wrote down. Truth seekers, again, back to the passion for knowledge. We're going to want to know the truth. So when something happens, we want to know the truth. Now there's a little bit of a discernment there because we don't like drama. So we're not typically the gossipers or listening to gossip, but at the same time, we want to know what really happened. Like when we see something on the news, we're like, I want to know what really happened there. Like we kind of question things and want to know the truth and whether things are the truth. But it's a little, like I said, it's not a gossipy, it's not a drama kind of thing, but we want to know the truth about what happens. Back to the unemotional thing, I wrote down, we have a hard time being present. I will tell you that is very true for me. If somebody's talking to me and honestly, I'm not interested in what you're talking about, I'm thinking about 20 other things and I'm not being present with you. And that is also something that I'm working on paying attention, even if it's something that I am really not interested in. You know, this is a person I care about and it's something they care about, and I feel like it's something I should care about for that person. So working on being present with people, making eye contact, really tuning in and listening and trying not to think about, I've got to get milk and I've got to vacuum and I've got to do my fingernails and I'm behind on a class video and all these other things when people are talking to me, because I kind of just, sometimes I tune out a little bit and go on my own little adventure and I don't stay present. So that is something I'm working on as well. And, you know, all these things are things that I've learned from learning my chart. But, you know, they're not things that I didn't really already know. Just it makes a little bit more sense to me. And I have a little bit more of an understanding on why some of these things are like that. And it helps me break it down into things that I can, and again, maybe that's the Sagittarius part of me, of then wanting to know how it works, wanting to know the truth, wanting to know where all the pieces go and things like that. But knowing my chart has really made a huge impact over the last year in my life. And I'm not done. I still have a lot to learn, and I still have a lot of things to work on. Like I said, my Chiron placement in my anger issue is not going to go away overnight. It's going to be something that I'm going to probably have to work on most of my whole life. And being present with people is something I definitely want to work on as well. But let's see here. Again, we talked about they're the hunters, they're the gypsies, the wanderers. They're the ones that kind of are all over the place. They don't typically like to sit still very much. They're not going to be people who like to stay in a small town. I do live in a small town, but I'm very lucky as far as the fact that I do have a husband that likes to travel with me, and he likes to take the camper and he likes to take the motorcycle, and we, you know, go do things that way. Again, but my Sagittarius is a little bit different, where most Sagittarius people want to live in a very big, crowded, social place. And my aspect on that is a little bit different. I would rather live in a very quiet place, very content with my little house in my little yard with my husband and my dog, in a very quiet life. Maybe that's because I was so reckless in my 20s that now in my late 40s, I'm okay with not having all that. But typically Sagittarius peoples are not going to live in small towns. They're going to want to live in a big populated area with lots of stuff going on. So if you fall in love with a Sagittarius in high school, just be prepared if you want to continue that relationship. You're probably going to be moving somewhere busy and loud. Back to partners real quick. If you are a Sagittarius person, I highly recommend, if you're looking for a partner, that you look for a Virgo. I married a Virgo. My Virgo keeps me very grounded, and he likes to do all the things. And Virgos naturally like to be in service. So that doesn't mean that like I make my husband be in service for me. That's kind of weird. But going over to the parent side of it, so hopefully I'll try to make this all fit together. Going over to the parent side of it, Sagittarius parents are not super great parents. My kids will probably tell you that is very true. They had food, they had a roof, they had clothes, but I was not the, do your homework. I was not the brush your teeth. I was really just not that way. Sagittarius people are kind of like, oh, you need lunch money. Yes, you have to have lunch money. Oh, you had a project due. We probably should have not waited till the night before it was due to work on that. So again, that goes back to that kind of all over the place and can be a little flaky in that sign. So Sagittarius people as parents it can be very challenging for the parent, and it can be very challenging for the child. But if you have a Virgo partner, or I would suggest, one of the other earth signs possibly, Virgo partner is going to be the task, like, okay, we've got to wash your clothes, we've got to get you breakfast, we've got to do this, we've got to do this. And so they're going to help balance out that partnership in the parenting of it. So yeah, Sagittarius parents, like I was like, my kids didn't have a bedtime most of the time. It was like, just go to bed whenever you want to go to bed. Get up whenever you want to get up. I was very much about the housework part of it, but anyway, again, that goes back to other placements in my chart. But typically speaking, Sagittarius parents are a little flaky, and it's not because they're not good parents or because they don't love their children or anything like that. It's just they're all over the place, and being a parent is very more of a structured thing, and structure and rules and guidelines and time, bedtimes and all that things are very not Sagittarius. So Sagittarius children, if you have a child that is a Sagittarius, I recommend not setting too many boundaries for them, but you do need to set some boundaries for them. Athena said something really good in her video, is if you have a Sagittarius child, especially a teenager, you need to have a conversation with them about boundaries and about doing all the things. Like I said, I really don't know how I survived my later teenage and my 20s. I really don't. I put myself in danger on a regular basis in places I shouldn't have been, drinking. When I grew up, there wasn't a whole lot of different drugs, so that was really not a thing for me. I smoked pot like everybody else, but it wasn't a real big thing. There wasn't like all these different kinds of drugs like there is now. And so if you have a Sagittarius child who is testing those boundaries and trying the things, yeah, there's a lot more dangerous things out there than there was when I grew up. So wanting to experiment and wanting to know all the things as a Sagittarius teenager in today's world can be very dangerous. So I do recommend having a conversation with them about, I know this is who you are and you want to learn and you want to experiment and you want to try things, but, you know, really stay away from these synthetic drugs. You know, you want to try pot, go ahead, smoke pot. You want to drink, go ahead, drink. Just, you know, but you do have to keep them safe. But yeah, I was not safe for a good 15 years of my life. I was not safe, and I did not take very good care of myself. So be aware of that if you have Sagittarius children, that the fun kind of can get out of control a little bit. And I think that's pretty much it. Real quick, if you wanted to work with any stones, Sagittarius love labradite. Labradite is all about new beginnings, and Sagittarius wants a new beginning like every day, every minute. They want a new beginning. They want to do something new. Turquoise is the stone of the warrior. So that goes back to the huntress and the archer part of the Sagittarian sign. Garnet is really good for grounding because we are a fire sign and we can be, like I said, a little flighty, flaky, all over the place. And so we do need a little bit of grounding. Again, my moon sign is Capricorn, which is an earth sign. And your moon sign is your subconscious. It's things that come to you naturally. So I think my Capricorn in my moon sign naturally helps keep me grounded. I'm a little bit more grounded than some other Sagittarians. Howlite is for self-care. Again, as I was going through my teens and my 20s, self-care was definitely not in my vocabulary. Excuse me. So it is something that you need to be cautious of and be looking out for, is some self-care. As I get older now, I'm much better at it, but yeah, I don't like going to the doctors. I don't like following the prescriptions. I don't like taking medicines. It's a thing. We all have our thing. But all right, so that's pretty much it. We do have a new moon coming up. No, sorry, full moon coming up. Check my chart real quick here. Full moon. Yes, December 11th. So December 11th, we have the full moon coming up. I keep saying new moon, full moon. So if you want to be making some moon water, I have a video on that. If you want to be charging your crystals, you can be working on that. But yeah, I have to go because I just realized it's like 8:15 and I have to be to work in 15 minutes. And I have a 15-minute drive. So I hope everybody has an amazing day. If you have any questions, comments, anything like that, please feel free to reach out to me. I'll answer whatever I can for you. And I hope everybody has a super amazing day. And remember to be kind. Your kindness may not only change your day, may change somebody else's day, but it could potentially change somebody's life. Thanks. Lots of love. Bye, guys.